In the year 2020, I started a podcast about movies. Some episodes occasionally focused on other media as well. As I dealt with threatening interdimensional beings, I eventually met my other self from another universe where all the stuff I talked about got delayed. As it turns out, the stories as me and my guests described them were presented very differently in that other universe. So I continued podcasting these recaps, which apparently sound like improvised reviews, to entertain listeners of that other universe while they waited for the new release dates. Some episodes even focused on content of years past that did not come out in that other universe for whatever reason. The year is 2022. The podcast is now bi-weekly, unless stated otherwise. My name is Shinder, and you're listening to Delayed Replay. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed or sometimes even canceled in that other universe but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, as always, Shinder, and joining me for this very holiday-filled episode about Scoob Holiday Haunt, it is Greg once again. How's the season going for you?
It's bloody freezing. Yeah, we've had some snow. It was like -6 the other day. Obviously, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it is cold.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like over here, I'm sure it's not as cold over where I am. Like it hasn't snowed, so yeah, it's not that cold. It's been like 50s, but it's been feeling pretty cold. But at least I guess it could be worse. I could be in England and that'd be worse.
Wow. Let me see what it is quickly. It is 21.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cold.
Yeah, we're getting a cold front, and it is raining at the moment, but it's not snowing.
That's sad, I guess.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for like what do you call them? A white Christmas.
Yeah, over here it's 46 Fahrenheit, which in Celsius would be 8.
Oh, that's not too bad.
All right, so I guess to start off, well, what are your overall, like, general experiences with the Scooby-Doo franchise?
Mainly just the films, the animated films from, I don't know, the late 2000s and the recent ones, and then the live action films. That's pretty much all I've gotten into.
All right, yeah, I kind of like grew up on some of the, like when I was a little kid, like there'd be reruns of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? You know, the original show.
Yeah, I catch those.
Yeah, but I'd also rent stuff like Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers and Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School is what it was called. So those ones that had like Scrappy-Doo in them, I'd get them from like the video store when I was a kid. And then like late 90s, early 2000s, you had like those classic ones like Zombie Island and Cyber Chase, Witch's Ghost, and the one with the aliens. And I'd also see reruns of a pup named Scooby-Doo, and then later watch What's New Scooby-Doo. And then there's that weird one in the mid-2000s where Shaggy and Scooby are living in Shaggy's rich uncle's mansion, and they go up against like an evil spy organization. It was called Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. I thought it was
insane.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Like it was different. Like it wasn't about mystery solving really. But in hindsight, later on when I got into the Venture Brothers, I realized, okay, yeah, they were copying the Venture Brothers in some ways.
So it's like Cars 2 of the Scooby-Doo universe.
Yeah, but like infinitely better.
Wow. Sacrilege, man.
Right. And I saw a few more of the animated films around that time, but my favorite incarnation was Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which felt like it had like a bit of a darker tone and it was more serialized, but it was also really hilarious. Just how Fred is like super obsessed with traps and pretty stupid and like it gets wild, that show. It's great. It's my favorite. You and I have watched a few of the recent ones, like the crossover with Courage and more recently Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, which
That
had
one
that.
was so good. That was so meta.
Yeah,
It was like Scream for Scooby-Doo.
yeah, and it had that banging song. You can change and rearrange and get strange with you, or however it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I saw the live action movies in the theater, and then the TV live action movies like when they aired. So yeah, those live action theatrical ones are kind of like guilty pleasures. It's kind of insane that those had like so many adult jokes, and yeah.
I must have missed out on those because I don't think I've seen them.
Oh, you haven't?
No, they're weird, weird casting, don't they? Like it doesn't have
Well,
Matthew Lillard. No, the TV ones.
Oh, the TV ones. Yeah, those. Yeah, because Matthew Lillard got his start with the theatrical ones, and then the TV ones. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be prequels, but I kind of feel like that was what they were going for because it was when they were teenagers. And I remember liking them, but they probably aren't like that good. Like if I watch them again, I probably wouldn't like them that much.
It says it's a prequel to the live action films.
Okay, I remember Fred had black hair, and in one of those movies, like he and I think Daphne were like trying to hide from someone, and so they were at a display where he like put on like a blonde toupee or wig or whatever, and he's like, "This looks good on me."
But have you seen Daphne and Velma? That is the question.
Oh, I have. It was meh.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I hope the Velma TV show is as hilarious as it looks like it could be, but I guess we'll see. I think it has potential to be on the like close to Harley Quinn in terms of like the tone, but yeah, I don't know yet. When it comes to the first Scoob movie, the first 3D animated movie, I enjoyed it, but like I brought my dog to the theater and we watched it like 2020 or whenever. But you never watched it because of like the voice casting, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so I went into this movie not knowing what happened in the previous movie. So yeah, came a kind of a different angle on that.
Prequel, so like it's fine.
I didn't really get why they didn't put Matthew Lillard. Like they didn't even ask him, which is what annoyed me the most. Like when that came out, why? He's done it for so long. He's basically Shaggy to pretty much everyone.
Yeah, like for the first Scoob movie, instead they got Will Forte, Zac Efron, Amanda Seyfried, and Gina Rodriguez. Frank Welker voiced Scooby, but he didn't voice Fred. There was that whole controversy. But for Scoob Holiday Haunt, it seemed like they were gonna have like these other voice actors like Ian Armitage, McKenna Grace, Pierce Gagnon, and Ariana Greenblatt as like the young versions of Shaggy, Daphne, Fred, and Velma. And they were for the first scene, but like, they're like around 10 years old or something. But then like after a little bit, they're like, we should change how we sound so we're more mature because like they're tired of being called meddling kids by like their parents and the adults and stuff. So from this point of the movie onward, they try to sound older, and that's when they get like the longtime cast members like Matthew Lillard, Frank Welker, Gray Delisle, and Kate Micucci again.
Oh, yeah, isn't Ian Armitage the guy who plays young Sheldon?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Just looking at this, I could just Googled him, and it's like, yeah, that looks like him. Yeah, it's him.
That show is so good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever check it out because, like,
it's better than Big Bang Theory, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been hearing, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I want to continue like supporting that franchise. It's kind of like how I haven't watched How I Met Your Father because I just got so sick of How I Met Your Mother, and like that show like hasn't aged well. So
I mean,
like,
it just looks terrible. I don't blame you for not trying to watch that show. Like
yeah,
I saw the trailer for it and I was like, what are they doing?
yeah. I mean, I love Hilary Duff, but yeah, I'm just like too stubborn to try it, I guess. But yeah, so in Scoob Holiday Haunt, the premise is basically, this is a little bit after Shaggy has gotten Scooby as like a pup or whatever, and it's Scooby-Doo's first Christmas ever. And what'd you think of this scene where like they're trying to explain to Scooby what Christmas is all about?
It was so wholesome. Almost, it's like the beginning of Up. You just
Yeah, when
Good.
she dies.
Yeah, you're like worried that you don't want to tell Scooby that like his parents are dead. Didn't want to ruin the Christmas spirit of family. So there is new family resort that they're trying to put on Scooby.
Yeah, because when Shaggy found Scooby, he was like by himself, and it's like Christmas is about family and stuff, so they're trying not to make Scooby depressed, and ultimately the whole thing is like his friends are his family or something uh really forced like that, you know.
Yeah, the usual Christmas shiz.
Yeah. So what Fred suggests is that he bring them to this holiday themed resort that his uncle Ned owns, and Uncle Ned is played by Michael McKean, who I don't know, you probably haven't watched it, Better Call Saul, but he plays Saul's brother in that show, and like it's amazing. So when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, I recognize it, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
You haven't seen either of those shows.
Yeah, I mean, definitely watch Breaking Bad before watching Better Call Saul. Yeah, because you'll get confused if you don't. But yeah, so they go to this holiday resort, and they hear that, they see people screaming after a bit, and it's like, oh, this place might be haunted. And Fred says the thing he always says, which is,
Oh, Jeekies.
yeah, like since they're like really young, he says what we're not used to saying. So he says, oh, jinkies, and then Velma's like, well, looks like we've got a mystery on our hands. Yeah. Right. So what's happening is like at this holiday themed resort, they got like all the typical holiday decorations. There's like some Christmas stockings, and for some reason there's like some amusement park rides as well. There's like a roller coaster shaped like where each cart is shaped like a Christmas tree, which just seems impractical, but um it really feels like the animators were trying to like do whatever they wanted with this amusement park slash resort place.
Yeah, I would not want to be hit by one of those carts. You'd just be impaled.
Yeah. Yeah, so the gang splits up. Fred suggests like Shaggy going with him and Scooby going with like Daphne and Velma, and they're like, hang on, this doesn't feel quite right. And so they try to like figure out like what's the best way to split up, until Daphne's like, you know what, this is stupid. We should all like go together, and that's what they end up doing. So I thought that was pretty meta there.
Yeah, you should never split up. That is rule number one.
Yeah, of the Scream franchise, which starred Matthew Lillard. Yeah, and apparently, like, this is like 40 years after a similar haunting has happened. Velma has this book of like the history of the town, and because she needed like something to read while they were there, and just so happens, oh, what coincidence, she has this book that
mentions that like there was this haunting like 40 years earlier. And what's similar about these hauntings is that they mention like some sort of ghost ninja. So that's kind of like what they're going up against and trying to disprove here.
Yeah, they found out that there's a ninja that throws haggis at people.
Yeah.
And like like nobody knows how those two came together. But boy, are we in for a ride.
Yeah, like there's a moment where Scooby and Shaggy are looking for food, you know, as they always do. And they see haggis flying through the air and they catch it in their mouths and just like eat it all in like one bite, you know, like in the cartoons, which was really weird to see in 3D animation. But they follow like this haggis trail, and really disgusting that's like on the floor and they're just eating it off the floor. And it brings them to like the ninja ghost or whatever they call it, and then they are like really scared and start like getting chased, and they do like a classic chase sequence type of thing. What'd you think of the song that they used for this chase sequence?
I'm glad it was just bagpipes.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't even a song, it was just like really jazzy bagpipes.
Yeah. I thought that was a fun touch because it kind of keeps the movie timeless. I kind of get the sense that they're trying to make it so that, you know, I'm not sure when the first Scoob movie is set. I would assume maybe like around when it came out. So if this is like 10, 15, 20 years before, I don't know how old they're supposed to be in Scoob. It'd be like maybe early 21st century. But they kind of keep it ambiguous when this is set because, you know, Scooby-Doo is kind of complicated if you try to nail it down to one time period, you know?
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird if they started playing Avril Lavigne. It's complicated.
Yeah, just pop music. I feel like they probably did have pop music in the first Scoob movie. It's been a while. But yeah, they go through like all these doors and like there are all these like Christmas related things. Scooby and Shaggy each try to disguise themselves as snowmen, and it fools the ghost ninja for a bit, but then the ninja's like, wait a minute, and starts chasing them again. And for some reason, there's a cemetery right next to this resort. Like, what's that all about?
Yeah, because they come across as really old janitor who's like, "There's a cemetery. Oh, don't go to the cemetery."
Yeah.
And obviously they go to the cemetery
Yeah.
where they see this massive gravestone of this. It's all shaped like a traditional Japanese house, and then there's like a sword being laid across the ground, and they were like, "Well, clearly, this dude does not like being here."
Yeah, and this janitor is voiced by none other than Mark Hamill, who previously appeared in the franchise at least once. I know he was in Zombie Island. So yeah, did you recognize his voice when the janitor spoke, or was it kind of like hard to tell at first?
I mean, it was a very jokery kind of voice he put on, so you could kind of tell almost immediately who it was.
Yeah, that's fair. He was like, "You mustn't go to the cemetery. It's bad."
Batman might jump out at you.
The gang tried to investigate this house and like the sword, and they're like, it's kind of weird that the ninja isn't using this sword and just left this here. So they're kind of wondering if maybe there's like more than one ninja, like one ninja who knows about this and one who's like maybe imitating the other, or because, you know, they're like mysteries of like similar ninja ghost mysteries 40 years apart. So it's like maybe there's an imitator trying to recapture the magic of that first haunting or something.
Yes, because I remember in the film, the janitor was used to seeing swords being thrown around, and he was kind of questioning why is it haggis this time around? It's
Yeah.
like I'm used to swords. What's all this haggis?
Yeah. I gotta say, like the haggis, like the food in this movie was like making me hungry when I watched it.
Even haggis.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like haggis. I tried it like 5 years ago because I'd been wanting to try it for a really long time. I remember watching an episode of Johnny Bravo where he had some and it looked good. So like 5 years ago when I was traveling through Scotland during my reading week, I got to try it and I really enjoyed it.
That's really far out to go for a reading week.
Yeah,
It's the other side of the country.
I mean, for you, it's like not that far, but yeah, it felt like a whole other world. Basically, it was like I felt like I was in Lord of the Rings or something.
I mean, it's pretty scenic. They do a lot of stuff in Scotland.
Yeah, they got like a couple places that were in the Harry Potter movies. So yeah, it was pretty. That was a great week.
How you wish you were still there.
Yeah. It was raining at certain points,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was still really cool, like just being on an adventure.
Yeah, that's just Britain for you. It's just always raining.
There's also this shop at the resort that has like Christmas related items. There's even a snow globe that's instead of glass, it's like made of amber, which is a really weird choice. It kind of makes it look like a Dragon Ball. Um, but yeah, what'd you think of where they were getting with this mystery at this point?
Well, they're pretty much going nowhere because obviously this is like not they're not seasoned veterans of the Clue gang environment.
Yeah, they were even calling themselves the Clue Gang. Like they don't even know what to call themselves yet. They're just these 10-year-olds with like very little experience.
Yeah, because obviously Velma's well in when we see her later on, obviously she's very well read, but obviously she's only 10. So how much can she read at the age of 10? So
Yeah,
she's still trying to learn.
yeah, she carries like a giant dictionary with her because she always has to like look stuff up as she's reading stuff. Um, and she has like this really weird habit of like highlighting the words that she looks up, which was kind of painful for me to see because I don't like seeing when people like write or highlight in books. Like if it's a notebook, it's fine, but if it's like a printed out like book, if you know, I mean, it's just I don't know. To me, it's just not aesthetically pleasing.
I mean, what if it's your own book?
If it's my own book, I wouldn't try it, but I mean, I guess I can't stop other people from doing it with their own books.
I mean, it's different if it's like a fiction or non-fiction.
Yeah. I mean, the furthest I would do is I would take notes on a separate thing, like on Microsoft Word or on a notebook or something, but that's me, I guess.
You don't want to have like those books which have been written on by like the author, those type of books.
Oh, those are actually pretty cool, like the annotated versions where
Yeah.
they type out on the side. Like, yeah, I think those are pretty cool. But that's like kind of different. Like, it's more official.
Yeah. But it was kind of weird to see when Velma was writing in the books, they could see like her the stuff she says in future movies, like where the long words she uses, you can see her finding them in the book. So it's like kind of weird nods to future films.
Yeah, those very obscure Easter eggs that like I didn't catch until like way later. And in this shop, I don't know why this stuff is in there, but this Christmas shop also has hardware. Um, so they have like these construction tools and they're like Fred basically is like, all right, gang, we're gonna build a trap to trap this ninja. Sorry, I that sounded redundant, I guess. And then Velma looks up the word redundant. And it's like, wait, what? She doesn't know the word redundant? They start trying to build a trap, and what'd you think of how this trap looked in the end?
Well, basically what they were trying to do was they were trying to return fire the haggis. So whenever the ninja would throw the haggis at them, it would like transform it into something else.
Yeah, so basically what it was is when the haggis gets thrown at them, this trap has like some sort of blender attached to it. So when the haggis gets thrown, it like blends the haggis and shoots it back as like basically just ground up meat, which was like kind of gross to see. But they also like put some lemon and onion in the blender for whatever reason. So it's like the smell and like the stinging acidity of the lemon gets on the ninja ghost as well. So the ninja's like basically my eyes and all that.
Yeah, I assume that lemon is like what garlic is to vampires.
Yeah, and it also helps them because with this stench attached to the ninja, it makes this ninja easier to detect, and so Scooby's able to like use his nose so they can like follow the ninja around and try to try to stop them. So basically a new chase sequence starts where they're not being chased, but they are doing the chasing, and so another song starts playing. What'd you think of the style of this song?
Well, this time instead of going for the haggis theme, they had the Japanese theme. So it was basically the song from Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I think they just like grabbed that right out of that film.
Yeah, and then there was a moment where in this montage where they're all like stopping and all playing as a band different instruments, and even the ninja is playing something. It's just like super random, classic Scooby-Doo.
And then immediately start chasing each other again.
Yeah. Yeah, for a Christmas themed movie or special or whatever, there isn't that much Christmas music as you would think.
No, it's kind of like Die Hard. It is a Christmas movie, but there isn't much Christmas going on.
Yeah, like it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember the first and second movie, like as far as Christmas music goes, they would just both end with "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." Yeah, I wish that Die Hard was not set on Christmas, because like even if it is a Christmas movie, I'm just tired of hearing people debate to death whether or not it is.
I mean, it's just based around Christmas. Like they have like a Christmas party in the first one, and the second one is like him coming home for Christmas or something.
Right.
So it's more like of a like moving off point than a Christmas film.
Yeah, I remember well, two things. I remember one time I saw a video where Bruce Willis is like, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a Bruce Willis movie.
I saw that.
Yeah. But I've also heard Die Hard described as Home Alone for adults, or maybe Home Alone is like Die Hard for kids.
Have you heard of a film called Bone Alone?
Is that the one with the dog?
Yeah, I don't know why it's called Bone Alone though. It's this kind of sounds a bit sus.
Oh, is it? I thought it was called Alone at Home. I thought that was the title of it.
No, I saw it the other day in a shop. And it's called Bone Alone because this is an asylum movie. That kind of says everything.
Oh, is it? I thought the one I watched was an asylum movie. All right, hang on. I gotta look this up. I see there's one called Alone for Christmas. Maybe that's what I watched.
Yeah, that's the American title.
Oh, and it's called Bone Alone over in England? Yeah. Weird.
It's got a really weird title.
I don't know why they titled it that. That's whack. I remember this dog movie that we're talking about was on Tubi at some point. Maybe it's still there, but I remember I got through half of it. I can't remember if I ever finished the second half of it.
Yeah, I've still yet to watch it, and I don't know if I ever will. I've come to that point where I can't really watch as many films as I used to. Because remember, I used to watch like 3 films a day, and now it's gone down to 2. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up. So I can't watch every sequel to a film anymore, which is kind of upsetting. Because I loved watching the sequels of films, to how many they had.
Well, I'm glad you're finally limiting yourself.
Yeah, I don't have enough time on my hands anymore.
So yeah, they're chasing the ninja ghost, and then they come across the second ninja ghost. So it's like, oh, the one from 40 years ago is still active, and then we start getting this weird fight between the 2 ninjas because I guess they're not on the same team, and they each want like all the glory or whatever. So the gang kind of just stands by watching these 2 ninja ghosts fight each other. And the fight like takes like a really long time. They jump on all over buildings and go beyond the resort and the cemetery. To the point where they end up in a meadow. And it's like how long does it take to get to each of these places? This is really dragging on.
I did kind of find it funny how they had those like really huge ticks from Attack of the Clones in there, just wandering the meadow. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, that was really weird. Yeah, so the gang is like following them around during this fight, and they're kind of like debating amongst themselves, like, should we try stopping them? And Shaggy's like, no, dude, just let them beat each other up until they're worn out, man. And so like this fight probably takes like 10 minutes, maybe a little bit more. But in the end, one of the ninjas comes out on top, and it's like the one from 40 years ago, and they're basically like, don't mess with the original, which very much reminded me of Scream 4.
Oh, what? Because it had multiple people doing it?
Yeah, because there's a similar line in that movie, but yeah, like that's a good point too. Like this is kind of like the Scream movies in that sometimes there's multiple people doing this.
At least here they're not working together.
Right.
It's like, I swear, like some of the Scream movies, they have like someone else's mom is helping them for some reason.
Yeah, but then Scooby works up the courage to sneak up behind the original and sort of trip him. So now they're both down for the count. And then Shaggy's like, now let's see who's behind this ghost face.
Oh.
Or these ghost faces. So they unmask the older one first. It turns out that it's actually Fred's Uncle Ned, and so they're like super surprised by this. What'd you think of Uncle Ned's motivation for all this?
It was obviously the most common Scooby-Doo trope, is that they just want to make more money.
Yeah. And it was pretty obvious that he'd be one of the ninjas because he just shows up in the beginning and then
disappears.
Yeah, he's basically trying to talk to the news, tell them that everything's fine, and then the gang tries going behind his back to solve the mystery, but it's pretty obvious that like he's probably one of these ninjas. And he explains that he once studied abroad in Japan, and he like knew some friends, and he misses his friends who are like long gone, and he feels like he's alone for the holidays because of this. And Fred is like, but what about me and the rest of our family? And Ned's like, I always felt like the black sheep of the family, the outcast. None of you ever got me. None of you ever supported me when I said I was gonna invest in this resort. And so it was kind of sad, but also kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, Christmas is meant for family, and he didn't get the number one rule of Christmas.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo does like this speech where he's like, "You should have remembered your family."
And then the other, when they unmask the other ninja, it was kind of funny that it was Vin Diesel, and he's like, "This is all about family. We did this for family."
Yeah, well, it was legit Vin Diesel
It was
playing
just
himself.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, just like how Simon Cowell was himself in the first Scoob movie. But yeah, like seeing Vin Diesel in 3D animation, I had a flashback to when he appeared in Fast and Furious Spy Racers.
He appeared in that.
Yeah, it was really weird because it looked very much like him, but it's like that uncanny valley type of thing.
But it was really janky in that weird 3D animation.
Yeah, and so you get a bit of that here, and it's like, ew.
Go back to live action with your bald head.
Yeah, so basically, he was like, he was doing all this to teach people that they need to be at home with their family and not at some flashy holiday resort amusement park thing. And yeah, so Uncle Ned and Vin Diesel get arrested. It's like, well, he's like, well, guess no more Fast and Furious movies, at least not for a while.
They'll keep on coming and they'll keep on coming.
Yeah, which got me confused because it's like we don't know when this is supposed to be set. So it's like, is this supposed to be like around now, or is it supposed to be like during one of the huge gaps between Fast and Furious movies? It kind of doesn't like make sense, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's been like after Tokyo Drift because he wasn't supposed to be in that movie.
Right. Yeah, that could be it, possibly. Like timeline wise, that could make sense.
Yeah. Sure, we just made sense of Scoob too.
Yeah. So the gang decide to just go to one of their homes. They go to Shaggy and Scoob's home and celebrate Christmas there. So they each give each other some presents. What'd you think of some of these presents that they gave each other?
Obviously, Scooby got Scooby snacks.
Yeah.
Oh, look what we found in this shop. We thought you'd like these, and then you just see Shaggy like try one. He eats pretty much everything, and then they just start munching on them together.
Yeah, and these are like peppermint flavored ones, for the holidays. So yeah, it was a nice touch. I thought the coloring on them, like the way they animate, the way they
animate.
yeah, the way they animated them makes them look like those sweets that you really want to try when you see them,
Yeah.
with the frosting and stuff. Velma was given like a brand new computer laptop thing. Like it looks a little blocky, like not too thin, but not too thick, I guess. But yeah, she was like really into this like new laptop thing.
Fred got his signature tie.
He actually got like a whole wardrobe full of them. Like Daphne was like, well, it's your style, so I figure you probably want like 20 of them. And so like the wardrobe just full of them. They're all the same color, not even different shades.
It's not like in the B movie where he has like blue and yellow, black and yellow, or yellow and black.
Right. Daphne is given, well, she was actually surprisingly given something that was more sentimental, which is like a diorama that shows her and the rest of the gang. So they're like these pop-up figure things, and it was really nice, seeing all of them standing together on this thing, and then Scooby's like really touched by all the stuff that's going on and being basically talking about how he's learned what the true meaning of Christmas is, which is snacks.
Yes, that's what he says as the title card comes up and the credits roll.
Yeah, and then we get like a holiday sounding rendition of the classic song. It's like Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you, Scooby-Doo? We've got some work to do.
Yeah, that was the biggest put your hands on your head moment when that song came on. Was it really necessary? Was it? Did you have to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. There's like a little post-credit Easter egg where a red herring from a pup named Scooby-Doo shows up, and he's like, "Hey, why wasn't I invited to this?" So I thought that was like a funny little throwback to that really old show, A Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
And it says Scooby-Doo will return.
Yeah, which, I mean, even if there isn't another one of these 3D animated movies, it's still true, because like no matter what, there's always gonna be a new Scooby-Doo thing. Like he's always gonna like show up in something, which is a really comforting thought in a way, that like Scooby-Doo will always be there for you.
I don't know what we'd do without Matthew Lillard though. Like once he
Yeah.
stops being
Alive.
yeah, what we would do without that man.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, they could just use old voice clips, but that could be like, again, go too much into the uncanny valley. So
I mean, aren't they
yeah.
doing that with Darth Vader with James Earl Jones? They'd like retaking
yeah,
his voice.
yeah, James Earl Jones like signed off on that. I think they did that for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about using that sort of thing depending on the context, but yeah, it's an interesting question, like who are gonna be the next regulars who will voice these characters, like
Yeah,
a
because Frank
couple
Welker must be stopping
generations from now.
soon.
Yeah,
Like,
probably
it can't be Fred forever.
maybe. Yeah,
Fred forever would be like the last one.
yeah, it's Fred Forever, the one where he meets Robin and they fight Riddler and Two-Face.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
would be.
to this day, it still bugs me that that one wasn't called Batman and Robin, and they didn't call the fourth one Batman Forever.
Oh yeah, it could be the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't Fantastic the fourth Fantastic Four movie? They should have made the
Yeah.
other films just as bad.
Yeah, why wasn't Transformers Age of Extinction called Transformers with the number 4 in the
Oh,
middle?
they missed that out, didn't they? Well, that is a huge opportunity, completely missed.
Right.
I mean, they can still do it now because of the rebooted timeline.
Yeah, they could do. So how would you say this compares to other Scooby-Doo releases you've seen?
It doesn't compare to the most recent Scooby-Doo movie. That was just so much fun.
A Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting how good that film was.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like a pretty run-of-the-mill Scooby-Doo story.
Yeah, it was kind of average, this one. How do you think it compares to other holiday things?
It doesn't come close to the Star Wars Holiday Special.
But the Lego one, right?
No.
Because the Lego one is actually good. The actual Star Wars Holiday Special is terrible.
Hey, it had a first appearance of Boba Fett, so
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't save it.
honestly, to be fair, my favorite part of that is the adverts. The bits in between the holiday special.
Right,
Some
yeah.
of the toys they had was so cool.
Yeah, the adverts are legendary. The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special was fine. Like it had some nice moments.
I wasn't expecting so much music.
Yeah, you were probably annoyed by that, right?
No, I just wasn't expecting
you weren't expecting much music in a Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, as in like them singing it. There's
Oh,
there's
okay.
always songs in the background, which I'm fine with. But obviously, it had the beginning of him trying to help the dude know what Christmas is about, and he gets it completely wrong. I'm just like, oh my god, what is this?
Right. While we're on the topic, are there any like holiday related things that you enjoy watching or recommend people check out?
I don't really watch Christmas movies.
I mean, you've seen Santa's Sleigh.
Oh yes, of course, Santa Sleigh and Jack Frost.
Yeah, the 1998 one with Michael Keaton.
No, the 1997 one, where he gets up to some absolute nonsense.
Right.
Yeah, so Santa's Sleigh should definitely be, if you're into horror films and wrestlers being in movies. Should...
Yeah, well, like my friend Callum, who was on the used to do the Undisputed Wrestling podcast, where they talk about movies that have wrestlers in them.
Yes, this is a movie exactly for him, just for him.
Right. I guess another one I'd recommend that I probably haven't recommended on the podcast before is All of the Other Reindeer. It's a nice like hour-long TV special from like the late 90s. It's kind of like a riff on the Rudolph thing, but with a dog going to like save Christmas. It's kind of a nostalgic thing for me.
I guess I could recommend The Snowman if no one hasn't seen that before.
Oh yeah, that one is a classic. I remember I watched it in first grade after we like read the picture book. And I think that was the last time I ever actually watched it. So like 20 years ago or something.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah.
There's a version of David Bowie. I didn't realize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they keep on changing who.
Yeah, I didn't know they do that. That's weird, huh? So, what are your final thoughts and score out of 10 and unit of measurement for Scoob Holiday Hunt?
Well, there was a weird holiday to haunt ratio. It was definitely more of a haunt than a holiday, so expecting this could have definitely been just a Halloween movie. But yeah, the animation is still kind of like Scoob's. It's just still a bit uncanny, because obviously we used to like the 2D animation of like all the films and the TV shows. Is there a 3D TV show?
No, I don't think there's a 3D TV show.
But they should stick to 2D. I'll say that. Yes, it's pretty run of the mill. They just churn these out. These kind of straight to. This would have been this was a straight to video.
As
So
like HBO Max,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. It's just alright. I'll probably give it 5 out of 10 families. Family.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd give it maybe 6 out of 10 haggises. Because there's enough in it for me to just like put it on like maybe in the background, or if I just want a little comfort watch, like something safe. But it is pretty run of the mill. The animation looks. I enjoy most of the animation. Like if I had to grade just the animation, I'd probably give it a 9. But just overall, the whole package, it doesn't feel as much like a holiday classic as I would want it to be. Like it didn't really warm my heart as much as like I was hoping it would, but I still enjoy seeing these characters. So I'd watch this again, but I definitely enjoyed the previous Scoob movie more, and there are also definitely some better 2D animated Scooby-Doo things. So yeah, I don't know if they'll do more of these. It's kind of weird that they went the prequel direction instead of continuing with like the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe that the first Scoob movie was doing. Like, I don't know why they didn't just like go forward from there. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand with this one. I guess it kind of feels like it's just there and doesn't really like. I would have preferred it to progress that story if you catch my Tokyo drift.
Nice. One of the best Fast and Furious movies.
Gosh,
I'm being serious.
you'll die on that hill all alone.
Yeah, those first 3 movies are amazing.
All right. Well, thanks for being on again, Greg. Do you want to just plug the society or?
Well, I'm not even the president anymore, so.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, so then don't check out Sci-Fi and Horror Society then. Yeah.
Yeah, don't check it out. Don't come along and watch films with us.
I'll link them in the show notes anyway.
Oh, that's okay.
You can follow me at Steven Shinder on Instagram and Twitter, Steven Shinder Storytelling on Facebook. Go to stevenshinder.com for info on my book Lemons on My Grain, and the second book, Trespassing Through Visages, coming out sometime in the new year. You can also find me on Yesshift, a podcast/vlog I do with my dad, where we talk about the band Yes and all the different things related to it. And you can also email Delayed Replay at delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on Ghosts, Peppermint. I don't know. I also recently guested on Requalizers, the podcast that Mr. Multiverse does for his Patreon. It was an episode on Silent Night, Deadly Night, kind of imagining what a requel to that today could be like, or what we'd like to see. And also, happy belated birthday to Greg. I didn't get to say that on the show, but yeah. Alright, back to the end of the episode.
So yeah, that'll do it. And the next episode, which will be the season 3 finale and the final episode of the year, it will actually be coming out on New Year's Eve. So this one we're recording now comes out Christmas Eve. So the next one will come out on New Year's Eve, and that'll be the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So that'll be quite a way to end this year. And then there will be a little break, but then this show will be back for season 4 after that break. So yeah, that'll do it. And without further delay, have a good day.